But supposing you don't want either? Well then, there's the question of the chicken. The person who's, well, there's only 2 people for Christmas, or somebody who lives alone. There you do this same skin pinching thing, like this, till you can run your hand underneath it, and then you just use the mushrooms, because they make the most gorgeous flavour, but you don't need to lubricate with the gammon as well, because this is not a dry bird. So you just push a few mushrooms under the skin, and that's all ready to eat and enjoy. And you do exactly the same thing with a capon. And here is a capon for you to look at while I'm talking to you about this. Mushrooms, a little bit of butter over the chicken, a little bit of butter over the capon. We'll pretend that the mushrooms are in there because you know it by now and you don't want to see it again. And with both these, the same trick, only a little butter, and then the jus, the bone stock that you've made separately, poured into the pan so that it draws in all the juices of the roasting bird and makes your sauce for you without any trouble. And now, let's draw breath. Let me wipe my hands clean, because I want to tackle the thing that men infuriate me over most. And I want to share with you how French women cope with this thing without any interference from the male. I'm no women's lid, don't think for a moment. I'm not such a clod. But there are times when men do make fools of themselves. Haven't you seen them getting scarlet in the face and struggling with the Christmas bird when they do the carving, using this ridiculous thing with a fork guard and a special carving knife? All you need is a pliable French knife like this and an ordinary table fork, and it's perfectly safe. Now, I'm going to do this very slowly so that you can see exactly. I'm going to turn this bird this side first of all and show you. You make a stroke where the skin joins the leg and thigh. You reverse the knife so that if it slips, it can't do you any harm. You put the fork inside and you just pull until you can see the bone. And instead of that purple-faced struggling that you get from Pa, you merely cut through, turn it over, and there's the thigh. Let's put them on this little dish that I've just piped with a bit of potato. The leg. Now I'll do that again on the other side, the reverse way. No, I'll do it that way, shan't I? Like that. Cut through, reverse the knife, push until you can see the bone. There it is. I believe you can see it if I put my knife up against it. And then you cut through, turn it over. You don't get flushed, you don't get hot, you don't have to mop yourself with a streaming forehead when you sit down like Pa. Let's put the leg there. Let's put the thigh there. Now we come to the wings. We'll stay on this side. One cut. Push aside. So, until you can see it, straight down, and there's a very handsome wing sit on the dish. So, turn it, it's this way. One cut, and down, pull it aside. It's as easy as shelling peas, isn't it? And nobody wants those nasty little paper-thin slices they give you in restaurants. But first of all, let's talk about this. Parson's nose off. If you're keen on it like I am, you hide it. Then you take the blunt side of a knife and you run it straight down the bird like this until it sinks in. And where it sinks in is the right place to make the cut for the wishbone. At least I shall look a silly clot if it isn't. Down you go, turn your knife, push it apart. So there's the wishbone, which on a bigger bird, of course, you would divide in 2. It's exactly the same thing for turkey, for goose, for everything. But when it comes to the breast flesh, none of those little papery bits, as I said. This is an ordinary pair of gardener's secateurs. It's all right, I've sterilized them. But if you haven't got proper poultry secateurs, and they're jolly difficult to get hold of these days, you just go through the bone like this with a pair of secateurs. And then snip it off round there, like that. Think of this for a moment as a really big one, and I'm going to take both of them off for you to see. And you see, it's so quick. Actually, we've timed me on this, and if I'm not talking, you can carve a chicken completely in 3.5 minutes. Now then, make an incision there. Make an incision there. And everybody gets a lovely fat lumpy bit instead of those beastly bits tasting of the knife. Then take your secateurs and snip through the bone. One. I did scrub my hands before I started. Snip through there, snip through there, and snip through there. Now, isn't that much easier? And that is my whole aim and object in these programs, to share with you the ways that I have found that life is easier for the housewife, because, you know, it's my considered opinion that Christmas is just about slave labor for the women. We shall deal with the question of knitting mince pies, because I got fed up with those. Men hate them anyway. We shall deal with the question of saving time on that. We shall deal with the question of saving time over the Christmas pudding, over everything, in fact. And now, before I go, just to show you what happens to the mushrooms, Sarah and I, there's your presentation dish. Sarah and I roasted a chicken with the mushrooms underneath, and there they are, do you see? All beautifully moistening the bird and sitting shrunk completely. Its shape has come back again, ready for you to carve it. Thank you so much for watching. Next time we're going to revive the lovely old-fashioned round Christmas pudding. Christmas.